Hello everyone, Johnny Minder here, and today we are continuing to learn Japanese with Pokémon Snap. Last time we finally got the final Pokémon sign, Pokémon no Shirushi in Japanese, and so unlocked the 7th and final course of the game. So today we'll play that and we'll see what happens after that. And yeah, without further ado, let's start. Yeah, last time, as you can see also here, we saved regularly, so we can continue from the continuation, literally. The option. We go to the course. We've already checked what our protagonist says for the 7th course, Niji no Kumo. Rainbow Cloud, just like in English. And yeah, we can immediately go there. Yeah, as usual. Protagonist says Yosh. And yeah, as you can see, we have the Pokemon signs. Mew, of course, that's the Pokemon, but yeah. While Mew is in its bubble, we can't photograph it. So we have to destroy the bubble by hitting it with pester balls. And yeah, the music we have already heard this game. And yeah, we destroyed the bubble, but there's actually more. That was only the first phase, and now Mew approaches. And yeah, we have to... yeah, now destroyed it. And yeah, now we can actually take a photo of Mew. Yeah, we got it. But of course, you can actually get better ones. And yeah, now it starts from this. By hitting Mew with pester balls or Pokemon food. And yes, so that you get closer. And yeah, then take the photos. And yeah, that's it. So we, of course, try to take more to get, well, this time I failed to get the best picture possible. Okay. Right. Too low at the start, and then, of course, also after it. And yeah, as you can see, we have the constellations, as Oak said last time. Too bad missed there. It's easier said than done. Well, not nearly as difficult as Balloon Pikachu, as Flying Pikachu, as got really lucky there. And yeah, by the music, but also you can already see the goal at there. So yeah, we only have one last shot, I'd say. Yeah, not too bad. But good thing that we actually got already some really nice photos before it. And yeah, so this is actually the 7th course. Yeah, we see Mew disappear there. So yeah, yeah, practically, well, dedicated to the quote-unquote final boss, that is Mew, of course. And yeah, as you can see, this photo doesn't, can't be shown, doesn't count. But we actually have, not these ones, really not good. This one, well, technically this one is bigger, but I'm afraid that about that tail. yeah, the other ones, no. We'll give this one a try anyway. There are some parts cut slightly, but yeah, might be the best one. And I'll also save it in the album. Actually, also this nice that there's the effect. And also just the bubble itself. Yeah, so we can go to Professor Oak. Says Yosh, the protagonist as usual. And yeah, we have only Mew. But of course, first and foremost, we get a Korewa. Because of course there are, it's considered a special picture. There is a special score for it. And yeah, first and foremost it says, well, in yellow it says the new part is Maboroshi no Pokémon Mew. By the way, I forgot of course to mention that Mew's Japanese name is just like in English, Mew. Technically in this case even written with without the longer vowel mark, despite being in katakana, as you can see. But yeah, still the final U is still long vowel in pronunciation, I'd say. As for the meanings, just like Mew in English, well, first and foremost, most likely new. The Mew part, the M at the start could be, as it says also on Bulbapedia, mutant or mutation. To be completely, I thought personally that it was also kind of related to meow in English, and so actually also in Japanese, of course, not the Japanese onomatopoeia for the meow, because Mew kind of has cat-like features, but yeah, that might have been my guess, and might not be related. Interesting that the hypothesis on Bulbapedia is that it could be also related in Japanese to the word myo, which means strange, weird. Also, well, that as an adjective, strange, weird, odd, curious. By the way, accented, even though it's a Chinese, well, it's a word of Chinese origin, it's the Chinese reading of the kanji. Can also be used as a noun for wonder, mystery, miracle, excellence. Also by cleverness, skill. But yeah, the fundamental meaning would be strange, weird, odd, curious. And yeah, so you can see why it could be associated with Mew, why that's their guess. But yeah, as for the rest of the writing, we simply have before Mew at the end, Maboroshi no Pokémon. First and foremost, we have Maboroshi. We have already seen it for this last time. It means phantom, as in vision, illusion, apparition. Other extended meanings, but yeah, this is the fundamental one. It's a noun, but also used as a no adjective, so yeah, a noun when used with the possessive particle no. in practice used as an adjective, even though again in Japanese it's technically noun plus possessive particle. And by the way, it's unaccented. And yeah, so simply phantom, possessive particle, no, and then Pokemon, and so yeah, phantom Pokemon, Mew. Easy. And yeah, so we get 2,500 points immediately for Mew, like that. Then we have the size. Yeah, actually, I could have potentially gotten it even closer, and yeah, there's part of Mew that's cut, so not the best. For the pose, we get a special one. Professor Oak says, "O masani yukoto nashija." First and foremost, we have the usual "o" again as the exclamation. Then we have masani, which is an adverb with ni. In this case, as we have seen, ni is used to make adverbs. Masani in particular, well, technically we have this massa, which would be a noun, but better in our case, na adjective, and that's why we also use the ni for the adverb. Exact, precise. Actually, as it says here, it's archaic, so yeah, not used on its own nowadays. Nowadays, on the other hand, you can use masani, usually written with kana alone, but in this case, of course, it's all written in kana. But yeah, technically, we would use the usual kanji for correct and so on, if we were to write it in kanji, but yeah, not used often nowadays like that. Usually used in kana nowadays anyway. But yeah, so as we said, the original adjective meant exact, precise, and yeah, so the adverb exactly, precisely, just, really, true, surely, certainly, without doubt. Other extended meanings, which don't interest us for now. And yeah, so in our case, it has this meaning. So the fundamental meaning, exactly, precisely. After that, we have again the expression yukoto nashi, which we have already seen in this very series. It means literally thing as in matter to say. We have you at the start, which is the usual verb to say, preceding koto. Well, after it we have koto, so thing as in matter, also used as a nominalizer for verbs. So yeah, thing to say, literally. Thing that you or one says. And yeah, after that we have nash. Nowadays considered technically a noun, also as a suffix, without, but yeah, actually it's the classical form of the adjective nai, non-existent, nai used of course in contemporary Japanese, as we have seen. But yeah, nowadays used in certain expressions, and yes, technically considered a noun without yeah, we have already seen another example of a classical form of the adjective, of e-adjectives, yosh, which we have already heard also in this very episode from yo in that case, that one used as an exclamation. Still the same meanings as the adjective in contemporary Japanese, so good, nice, and so also as an exclamation, okay, and so on. I guess so literally as there isn't well, better, nothing one can say, but yeah, as we have seen, in the sense about something perfect, not a thing one can complain about, better than one could hope for. And yeah, so literally nothing one can say, and yeah, because it's already perfect, and so you can complain about it. It's an expression, and yeah, at the end it uses the copula, again the usual copula used by Hawk, because it's the one used by all characters in fiction, and yeah, so including Hawk. And yeah, so the translation is simply it's certainly literally nothing one can say, and so yeah, not a thing one can complain about. And yeah, so that's why we get this special pause, and so also all these points. Yeah, of course it counts as in being in the middle, and so yeah, we get a really high score, as you can see here. Could have been even higher if we got the perfect size, but yeah, literally bigness as usual, Okisa. But yeah, of course, Subarashi. Yeah, and we can see again here Yuko to Nashi Jayo. Yeah, so we get the result, and yeah, of course we have a Jitsuwana. So we go back to the lab and see what Oak has to say to us. And yeah, the usual Yao Kairi, welcome back in English. In Japanese, simply ya, which is in this case, well, could be yo even, but hi, hello there better in Professor Oak's case. And then okairi, which is the shortened form for welcome back, said by someone when someone else comes back home. And yeah, of course, in our case, back to the lab. And yeah, now we got to hear from Oak also with the audio Tsuini yatta na. First and foremost, we have this Tsuini, which we have already seen actually. Yet another adverb with this ni at the end. Technically, there's also tsui on its own, as we have seen, as a noun, also used as an adjective with the possessive practically used as an adjective with the possessive particle. Tsui, by the way, accented on the first syllable, and also in this case, even when we add ni, of course. But yeah, as a noun means end, final. And yeah, so as an adverb with the ni, finally, in the end, at last. also in the negative in the end, but in the sense after all, never. But yeah. After that we have yatta from the verb yaru, to do, a colloquial form of the verb suru, which means to do. Yaru also used with several extended meanings, but yeah, here it's in the sense to do. In the ta form, so we have to, it's a u verb, godan verb, so we have to follow the rules. It's in ru, so it becomes double consonant ta, again, continuative form, so in ya, ri, ta, then the I most likely fail, yar, ta, difficult to pronounce, so doubling of the consonant instead. So yeah, we have this yatta, literally I did it, implied it, or you in this case, you did it. Actually nowadays mostly used as in as an exclamation, as in I did it, and so hooray, yay, and so on. Last but not least, we have the particle, final sentence particle now, which we have already seen. Could be in its meaning of the meaning on its own, of its own, better, sorry. So like more like a wow, express admiration, emotionality. We have seen it also used as a replacement for ne, so right, isn't it? Or yo, hey, or you know. But yeah. In this case, let's say maybe better as a wow. Yeah, so yeah, wow. You finally did it. It, of course, in reference to what we've just done, and yeah, what Oak says immediately after. Toru masaka konoshima ni miu ga ita to wa. Well, first and foremost, we have the name of our protagonist, Toru. Hi SKS, yeah, we're playing Pokémon Snap again. We have just played the 7th and final course, so yeah, we're now seeing what Oak has to say to us about that. We've photographed Mew. And yeah, as it says here, then after our protagonist's name, we have Masaka, which is an adverb. Well, also used as an exclamation and interjection. But yeah, first let's focus on its fundamental meaning. Certainly, when used as an adverb, certainly not, surely not, hardly, expected, and usually used with negative verbs. In the positive, technically, again, indeed, really, truly, or better, unexpectedly, and yeah, in our case it would be unexpectedly. And yeah, so used also as an exclamation interjection, by no means, never, you don't say, no way. And yeah, but so yeah, in this case I actually could say no way, as in the exclamation. After that we have kono, again from the Kosado series. Ko goes to both the speaker and the listener. So far far from the speaker, close to the listener, far from both, do, the interrogative. Also usually an accent and do accent on the first syllable, the do itself. Here we have no, and so again the demonstrative adjective, and yeah. Following it we have the name Shima, the noun Shima, which is the Japanese term for island. Should be accented on the last syllable, and it is. We've seen it in this very series, I think, in a previous speech by Oak. Yeah, this island. Then we have the ni, in this case as the locative particle, in, at, the one used with locative verbs, and yeah, later we have, after that we have ita, instead of that, which is the one used with all the other verbs. Then we have mu, of course, the Japanese name of mu. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have ita, as mentioned, to be as in to exist. There is, there are, in translation also. And yeah, the one used for animate objects, so actually people and animals. Yeah, in our case, a Pokémon, so makes sense. It's a root verb, it's then verb, so we can drop the ru and add ta to make the ta form. And so the past form of the verb. Last but not least, we have to wa. Technically a combination of two particles, to, the quotation particle. Then we have wa, written as ha, the topic particle. And yeah, so this, in this case, the meanings could be: it indicates a word or phrase being defined, more like as a contraction of to, you know what, technically. As for what you say, you call, we could say in English, and then of course what is the word or phrase being defined. But yeah, simply in this case used for quoting technically. And well, used usually for contrast or as emphasis to a negative statement. And yeah, one of the usual usages of wa, of course, combined with the quotation particle. But yeah, in this case, it's actually the last of the meanings mentioned also by the dictionary. The fact that, so again, let's say actually implied to, you know what, technically, but in the sense to think that such a thing as, and yeah, so to indicate surprise, disbelief, anger, and so on. And yeah, like in our case, it says here sometimes at sentence end, and yeah, like in our case, to think that yeah, first let's go back. Toru, of course, because our protagonist, no way to think that Mew was in this island, at this island. Yeah, because we found Mew here. Yeah, now Oak says, Washi no Pokémon reporto mo kore de hitotsu no kugiri ga dekita zo. First and foremost, we have washi, the usual pronoun first person singular. Unaccented is the one used by the older characters, by the elderly, yeah, like ok. Again, a contraction of watashi, still I, but used in formal context. Watashi, slightly reduced, is the most common, is the fundamental way to say I in Japanese nowadays. But yeah, then further contracting, we have washi. After it, we have the possessive particle, so actually my, of, me, yeah, so my. Then we have, of course, Pokémon Reporto, as usual, the Pokémon report. We have the inclusive particle mo, so also even. Then we have kore, this, but again, koso ado, ko, just like we have seen, but with an additional re, and so the demonstrative pronoun in this case. Yeah, we don't have a noun after it, but we have the particle de, with, in this case, or could be technically be the form of the copula, so being this, like this, in that sense. Let's say we could simply stick with this technically, and to make it simpler. After that, we have hitotsu. We have already seen it before, I think also in this series, but in general, it's a numeral plus counter combination. Tsu is the general purpose counter of Japanese origin. And so yeah, before it we have Japanese numerals, in this case hito, and so one of a general purpose thing. And so without a specific, without using the specific counter if available. If it isn't, of course, then makes even more sense to use the general purpose counter. After that we have the possessive particle to connect it and modify the following noun, which is kugiri. Technically a compound noun. First and foremost we have ku, which on its own means accented, means word, borough, city in Tokyo, or a district, and for example an electoral district, a section, zone, for example postal. But yeah, in this case it's simply more in its, from word district, it's used actually, we could say that the fundamental meaning, even though nowadays it's that one is considered the meaning of the kanji, would be to separate section better. Section is the one I was thinking of. And yeah, after that we have giri. Actually would be kiri. We have the dub, and we have the voicing of the consonant, so we add the duck 10 because it's a compound. The second part is of strictly Japanese origin, and yeah, as we have seen, it often happens to those that we add, it becomes voiced, we add the duck 10. So kiri, which comes from the verb kiru, actually accent should be, the fundamental meaning is to cut, it's a U verb, Godan verb, despite being in Iru, so be careful, it's one of those exceptions. So yeah, to make the continuative form, we change the U into I, ki-ri, and yeah, then used actually as the corresponding noun. Accent on the last syllable, so regular when it comes to the accent, because the verb is accented. The meanings are and, as we have seen, from to cut, as in to cut off, and yeah, because of that. Also and in the sense of pound, limit, and yeah, better in technically in our case, potentially. And yeah, so we get kugiri. Actually also accent on the last syllable, so be careful. Technically it's actually used kugiru as a verb. Kugiru as a verb, also accented. So yeah, it makes sense that then it's the continuative form, just like for kiru, we change the u into I, and we have the corresponding noun, so accent on the last syllable. But yeah, kugiru means to divide, to separate, to partition, to demarcate, to delimit, to mark off. Also used in the sense to punctuate, to mark off with a comma. And so yeah, to insert pauses between words or phrases when reading aloud, to space one's words. So yeah, from the meaning to divide, to separate, to mark off also in that sense with a comma. And yeah, we have the corresponding noun, in this case, the continuative form used as a corresponding noun. And so yeah, its first meaning would be technically pause in speech, writing, and so on, punctuation. But its other meaning is break, end, place to stop, pause, milestone, for example in a project. And yeah, so it's clearly in that sense in our case, so I'd say maybe better as a milestone. But yeah, then after that we have the subject particle ga. And then we have the verb dekita from dekiru. To be able to do, also used as the potential form of the verb suru, to do, because yeah, instead of making the potential form by conjugating suru, we simply replace it with the verb which already means to be able to do. To be able to do, also to be possible, to be permitted, other extended meanings, but yeah, we'll focus on the fundamental one. It's our ru verb, it's an verb, so we can drop the ru and the ta to make the ta form, again, so the past form of the verb. Last but not least, we had the final sentence particle zo, again, male term or language, used to add force, I'd say, personally, also simply emphasis, as we have seen in practice. And yes, the translation becomes also my Pokémon report with this, with our discovery and photo of Mew. Has been able literally to do, to reach a milestone, one, literally we have one, with the numeral plus counter, milestone, or could also be one end. But yeah, I'd say honestly better milestone technically. In this case, yeah, we'll continue. Kore to yu no mo toru yo. First and foremost, we have again kore, this. Then we have the quotation particle to. We have you, the verb to say. Then we have the no. In this case, that's the nominalizer for verbs. Already mentioned. For example, in this expression, to you, no. In that case was with wa. Yeah, in this case we have mo instead, the inclusive particle also even. Then we have toru, the name of our protagonist, and last but not least, yo, the final sentence particle, as in for emphasis, in the meaning which I added to the particle you know, in the sense. So yeah, in this case it means the fact of literally saying this also is implied toru, so the name of our protagonist. And so yeah, simply I'd say in the sense that as we'll see even better in the following part, it's thanks to Toru, to our protagonist, that the Pokémon report reached this milestone, this end. And yeah, as we can see immediately after, Professor Oak says, Kimi no kyoryoku ga atta kara ja. First and foremost, we have Kimi. The pronoun which means the second person singular. You, and so you as in towards a single person. There's a distinction technique in Japanese technically, because we could and we should, in the case of these pronouns, specify if it's singular or plural, unlike with most words in Japanese, which could be either without specifying, even though we can specify it. But yeah, we have Kimi. If I recall correctly, unaccented. We have already seen it at least once before. Yes, unaccented. Technically familiar language. Sometimes also considered male language. Yeah, it's referring to someone of equal or lower status. And yeah, after that we have the possessive particle no. So again, of you. So your. And then we have this noun, kyoryoku. I think unaccented, but we'll check. It's a Chinese compound. That's why I guessed like that. Yeah, it is. It means cooperation, collaboration, help, support, but yeah, better cooperation or collaboration is the fundamental meaning. Then we have the subject particle ga. Then we have the verb atta from aru, to be as in to exist, of inanimate things, like in our case, the cooperation, collaboration. It's a verb code and verb, so we have to follow the rules to make that a form, just like that a form. It's in a row, and so again, double consonant ta. At, and so the past form of the verb in plain speech. After that, we have kara, in this case, a conjunction, which means because. And after that, we have the copula, ja, then the suspension dots. And yeah, so literally it's because there was your collaboration. And yeah, so you can see why it's said then the meaning of that koreto yuno mo above it, and then of course after to, and then after it toru. And yeah, we can continue. Professor Oak says, Washimo, yoi cameraman ni deaete ureshiizo. Again, we have washi, I of older characters like Cock, the inclusive particle mo, also I, even I. Then we have yoi. Again, the adjective, which means good, usually used more as e when not conjugated. But yeah, sometimes you might see also the original form yoi, like in this case, even when not making changes to it. But yeah, an adjective, and yeah, after that we have the following noun modified by it, which is cameraman from English. We've already seen it. I don't remember its accent to be completely... Okay, good thing I checked, because it's actually cameraman on the ra at the end. It's the accent is on the ra, and so actually on the final moral, better final syllable technically, of the first word part of the compound. And yeah, because it's considered technically a compound, as you have seen, it's one of the typical spots for the accent in compounds. By compounds, I don't mean the quote-unquote Chinese compounds, which I usually mention, like Kyoryo Ku, because those are, we could say better, Chinese words of two kanji. But yeah, this is a proper compound, and yeah, so these are the typical spots for the accent. Then we have the particle ni. In this case, with, it's a special usage in the sense that it's required by the following verb, deaete, a compound verb, actually from deau. Then there's a further change, but yeah, first deau, it's a compound verb, from de at the start means comes from deru, the verb which means to exit, to go out. It's a root verb, it's a verb, so we can drop the root, and that, and so to make the continuative form, in this case, it's required to add the second verb part of the compound, which is au. Au means to meet, to encounter, to see. by extension with usually a specific kanji to have an accident, to have a better experience, as in you figuratively meet an accident or a bad experience. But yeah, in our case, simply to meet. Both Teru and Au are accented, and so luckily also the Au is accented. The meaning is to meet by chance, to come across, to run across, to encounter, to happen upon. Other meanings, but this is the fundamental one. And yeah, so makes sense. We have literally the verb, which means to exit, to go out with meet. And yeah, you go out and meet someone by chance, in this case, in the sense you meet them by chance. If you want to say simply to meet, then you would use au on its own. Yeah, so in our case, we have to meet by chance, to come across, to... Then, it's just like how, it's a verb colon verb. So, we can change the u into e, and add ru. We can see ru because of further conjugation here, to make the potential form of the verb. And so, can meet. The potential forms of verbs are ru verb, it's then verb, and so yeah, we can simply drop the ru to add te and make the te form of the verb. The meanings of the te form are the usuals. In this case, do the action of the verb in te and the rest of the sentence. By doing the action of the verb in te, while doing the action of the verb in te, technically. Here in this case, it's more like, I'd say better if we considered it as an because, as you see it why, because when we translate it, also when I mentioned this following word, which is ureshi. We have seen it in this very series. It's an adjective, which means happy, glad, pleased, delighted, overjoyed. But yeah, the fundamental meaning happy. Accented, also joyful, delightful, gratifying, pleasant. But yeah, fundamental one, happy. And then the final sentence particles o again. So yeah, the translation is even I, also even I, I'm happy because, as, or however you want to say it, I've met a good cameraman. And yeah, so we have this te form because it's then we say that because by doing we could technically stick to the usual by meeting a good cameraman. I'm happy. Yeah, so by the way, actually the adjective is the present affirmative, implied in translation. We of course we have to use a past verb for the deaeru. I could meet, I've been able to meet. But yeah, so in that sense, and by the way, yeah, the ni is required by the verb au, or in our case, the au, still applies to it. And yeah, it's literally the rule. Unfortunately, you simply have to remember it that with the verb to meet, we have to use the particle ni to say the someone with whom we meet. And yeah, so we can continue. And yeah, funny enough, we got also to hear it, matao. But yeah, first we have sore de wa, and then matao. First and foremost, we have the sore, again the Kosovo series. Sore is the demonstrative pronoun that. And then we have this dewa. Technically could be de as a particle. Yeah, better in this case actually as the form of the copula. Then we have the topic particle wa. When used as wa after the form of the form of a verb, like is the copula, it would literally mean as for it being that way, the way of the verb in te, and then implied if it is like that. But yeah, in this case we have it literally being, as for it being that way, implied if it is that way. And yeah, it's actually used, actually dewa on its own often, but in this case we have it fully, sore dewa. By the way, sore unaccented, and so the accent would actually be in this case on the de, because actually when we have this, and also dewa on its own, the accent is on the first particle. Sore dewa. And yeah, so it's actually used as a conjunction, which means well, right, now. And yeah, it's used either what, to end a conversation or introduce a remark. So, then, and yeah, because again, literally it would mean as for it being that way. Yeah, as it says also here as the last form, that way would mean implied. If that is the case, in that case, yeah. Actually used as well, like in our case, even though it's not the typical, well, it's technically actually the typical expression, but often in that case it's contracted when used. And to say goodbye, to say bye. Literally, as we can see, then we have mata, which is an adverb that means again, once more, once again, and so by extension, another time, some other time. And then, yeah, we have ao, from ao again, meet, to meet. It's a u verb code and verb, and so we can change the u into o, u, and so actually long o, to make the volitional form of the verb. And so, with its most common meaning, let's. And yeah, so the translation becomes as literally as for it being that way, as for it being that, as in that way, what has been said before. Let's meet again another time, some other time. And yeah, you often find the expression simply as za, which is the contraction of de wa, za mata, often associated also with the final sentence particle ne. So za mata ne, or simply also mata ne on its own without even the za. But yeah, those are all contractions of these expressions. Here we have in plain speech, by the way, you could technically make the polite form mata aimasho. But yeah, it's in plain speech, but yeah, this is the full expression technically. So yeah, literally, let's meet again. Well then, let's meet again. And yeah, after that we have either with A or B. In this case, we have both icons. Then the particle de, in this case literally with, as in the means. And then last but not least we have kiroku, which we have already seen. It's literally on the bottom left corner as one of the options in the lab. We have seen it, it's a Chinese compound, unaccented, so technically record, also the act of recording. But yeah, in our case, of course, in the sense actually that by extension to save. And so in our case would be saving. And yeah, of course, we could technically also make the corresponding verb to record by adding the verb suru, literally to do, and so to do recording. But yeah, here we simply have the noun, could be simply an implied verb, suru. But yeah, so yeah, with A or B, we will save. And yeah, we have the usual Kirokutsu in the middle of saving. And yeah, so we actually get the staff credits. Yeah, as it said above, Pokémon Snap Staff, so the staff of Pokémon Snap. And yeah, Jack and Beans, we won't check this all. Well, I actually... yeah, we won't check the names, but we should check at least the roles. Let's, I'll try to save them. Most likely I'm doing it way too fast and I could wait more, but I don't want to risk losing anything. But yeah, we'll quickly check the roles at the very least, as there are some interesting terms, as I just seen. Most in English, but of course we'll see still the how they're pronounced in Japanese, transcribed and pronounced in Japanese. And yeah, by the way, of course, we get actually to see various photos that we've taken throughout the series. Okay, yeah, with that we should be fine. I still take this last one. And yeah, with that we are back to the title screen. So I'd say we can take our usual break this now, around 5 minutes as usual. When we are back, we'll check out quickly the staff credits, the roles, those writings, not the individual names. And then we'll continue from there. So, see you in around 5 minutes. And we are back. And yeah, now we'll check the staff credits. And yeah, we'll actually go here. Yeah, I could have waited more, but didn't want to risk it, as you see here. We start here. Yeah, as I mentioned at the start, here it says Pokémon Snap Staff. So yeah, Pokémon Snap Staff. We'll quickly check the accents if available. I'll actually take, forgot to do it during the break to take the physical dictionary. But yeah, first we have again Snap, but that we have of course already seen because it's the name of the game. Luckily accent on the na, just like in English, Snap. Of course, Snap in this case as an abbreviation of snapshot. The full would be snapshotto in Japanese. By the way, accented in Japanese on the sho, the full word. And so actually on the first syllable of the second noun, part of the compound, so another typical location for the accent in compounds, as already mentioned. But yeah, in our case, snap on its own, on the snap, and so snap on the na. Notice the doubling of the consonant added in Japanese. It isn't present in English, of course. And also the U of su, because of course Japanese doesn't have S on its own, and so they add U when available, unlike as we have seen for to, do, because of it wouldn't be it would be su, so yeah, no. Not t or the on its own. But yeah, for others consonants, usually it's we get them by adding u, so there's u syllables. U more as better in Japanese. Su. By the way, I actually barely heard if at all in this case, because it's between unvoiced consonants, and yeah, even better, so even closer to the English snap, snap. Sorry, actually, in this case, it's actually should be not actually heard properly. Su, na, pu, because na is n is a voiced consonant. I got confused because of the following word where it's actually barely heard, if at all. Sunapu, staffu, sutaffu, because there S and T are both unvoiced consonants. But yeah, after that we have staffu, as I've just mentioned. We'll check its accent if we can find it. Yeah, same considerations as mentioned for snappu. And yeah, luckily the accent is on the ta as expected, just like in English, staffu. And yeah, we can continue. Oops, sorry. In the middle, we get Zaku Ando Beanzu, which, if I recall correctly, is the name of the company that worked on Pokémon Snap. Of course, Jack and literally Jack and Beans, as in a reference to the Jack and the Beanstalk, of course. But yeah, we have Zaku. We'll see if we can find... sorry. Okay, now we should be back. Zaku, technically in this case, has the name, but it's used also as a word technically for Jack. Both Jack as in the card, or also an electrical Jack. And in that case, it would be accented on the first syllable as expected, Zaku. Notice again the doubling of the consonant at the end, unlike in English. But yeah, so most likely also for the proper name, Zaku. Then we have Ando, of course, and. Notice what I mentioned, that in this case, we don't have the on its own, but we have to add O, because if we added U, it would become Zu or Zu, depending on how you pronounce it nowadays. But yeah. So clearly not the on its own, and yeah, so we add O. And also we can't add E instead, because of similar situations. But yeah, so we get Ando, so and. technically also pronounced and written as endo. I see here in the dictionary. But I say maybe ando is actually more common for and, of course influenced by the writing. And also to not confuse it with and, as in the and. By the way, that one accented, as expected, endo, the end. While our word ando is actually unaccented, so be careful, it's one of those exceptions. And then we have binzu. Not sure I'll find binzu on in the dictionary, but we should find at the very least bin. Actually, no, sorry. Technically, binzu, beans in the plural, is actually considered more common also in the dictionary. And that sometimes happens in Japanese that the plural is the one that gets taken, and it's the most used one, the most used word, even though technically you could make also the singular. Funny enough, just like well, in Japanese also the word furutsu, with a long ru, it comes from fruit, the English word fruit. But clearly in pronunciation it's furutsu, and so actually would be fruits. But yeah, it's actually fruit, even more. Well, actually in this case could be still, because at the time, even though it's weird considering that the change for the t into tsu should have happened already. So yeah, I actually think it's more the plural. Otherwise, it could have been that they added u to t, because at the time wasn't pronounced as tsu. But yeah, I actually think it's because of a hypothetical plural. But yeah, used for fruit in English. But yeah, in our case we have binzu. Accent on the first syllable, so luckily regular, just like in English, binzu. After that, at the bottom, I quickly let it actually go to the middle so we can see it better. We have the word directa. Of course, easy to guess. Director from English. So yeah, let's quickly check it. Also, its accent. Even though I think it should be accented just like in English in this case. And yeah, it's on the re, as expected, so director or director, but yeah, of course in Japanese in this case we have the D, the original D, directa. Of course, notice again the sound at the end doesn't exist in Japanese, so it becomes the closest one, a, with the longer vowel. Because, of course, similar to the longer vowel in English accents, English variants, which don't have the R sounds and often become actually longer vowel, like in car, ka, in British received pronunciation. Yeah, so director, and you can see by the way that it's in the singular technically, but yeah, actually we have more than one director. But yeah, the word stays like that in Japanese. After that, we have designer, of course, designer. Notice the because, of course, influenced by the writing, because you write it as designer, even though often pronounced as designer. Yeah, let's check its accent. Yeah, luckily, just like in English, on the za. So, designer, designer. So we can continue. Okay, after this, I think we have to move on. Well, we can already see it, so we'll check it here. After that, we get sound designer. So, simply again, at the end, designer, but before it, sound. So, sound. This, I think we have seen before in this series because of the options, but I could be wrong. And I think it was actually, yeah, it's one of those words, those English words in Japanese that are unaccented, so be careful, sound. But yeah, in this case, of course, we are sure, also considering that, even though often it would be the second term accented anyway. But yeah, in this case, even more so, since the first one would be unaccented. So yeah, sound design, the accent, it's low, sa, because of the usual rule in when it comes to the accent in standard Japanese, the Tokyo accent. If the first is low, if the second one is high, and the other way around, high, low. But yeah, in our case, low, high, then high stays up to include the za. And yeah, since the accent is there, then it's low after that. So, sound designer. And yeah, sound designer. And yeah, so that. Again, the accent in Japanese, it's a pitch accent, so it's all a matter of low, high, technically low, middle, but yeah, usually when discussed, we say low, high. But yeah, we can continue. And after that, of course, we get programmer, so programmer. We quickly check if we can find also, in this case, the accent. Let's see. But yeah, programmer, computer implied programmer. And yeah, actually accented on the ra, as expected. So yeah, programmer. And yeah, just like in English, programmer. And yeah, we can continue. And yeah, again, in the singular technically, but yeah, there are more than one because it doesn't change, of course, in Japanese. After that, we have technicaru supporto. Technical support. First, we have this technicaru, which is accented, but actually on the ku, so be careful, is an exception. Tekunikaru. And then we have supporto. This one I think should be accented on the first, well, actually on the second syllable, so on the po. and yeah, it is support, just like in English, support. Again, while in English you can change the accent of certain words, including technically support. In Japanese, of course, they only have one usually. They didn't bring both accents. But yeah, so keep in mind that for support, they kept the one when it's accented support, even though it can be used also as a noun. Technically is a noun on its own, and then we can make it a verb by adding suru, again, to do support, literally. To support. Yeah, as I mentioned, most likely my guess would be that the accent globally would be on the one of support. So tekunikaru support, even though tekunikaru is accented on its own. Yeah, we can proceed. Yeah, let's continue. And yeah, here we get supervisor. And yeah, supervisor. I'm curious if we find even this one in the dictionary. Hopefully so, and also for the accent. Yeah, we can find it in the online dictionary, but yeah, we'll check also for the accent. First, notice, well, of course, other than all the longer vowels in Japanese, but for the V, because again, before they introduced it with the U with the duck 10 and then small I, U, E, O, well, A, I, E, O, because U doesn't make sense because there was already V on its own. But yeah, before they introduced it, they replaced it simply with the closest consonant, which is B, of course. And yeah, so it stayed in older words like in this one. And yeah, luckily it's technically already a compound also in English. And yeah, the accent is just like in English on the pa. Supervisor. And by the way, the supervisor is Tanabe Kensuke. You might have heard of this person. Yeah, Tanabe-san was the supervisor here. Of course, as a reminder, in Japanese, we have the surname first and then the given name, while you might have seen it in English, of course, reversed, and so Kensuke, Tanabe. But yeah, in our case, Tanabe, Kensuke. We can continue. And yeah, now we have a pretty long one, even though it's... First and foremost, we have the number 64, of course. Technically, in Japanese, would be Rokuju-yon. We'll actually check if I can find its accent. Give me a moment. Yeah, I got the physical dictionary. Actually, both, because this one is the found in the one with the we have found these numbers in the one with the numerals and the counters, I should say better. And yeah, let me check if I can find okay. On its own, Rokuju 60, again 6 tens, and so 60, would be accented on the Ju. Okay, so as usual, as we have seen, there are some exceptions, but that's regular. And so when combining it with yon in our case, so on a word, on a number accented on the first syllable, just like nana in the table, then nana is the strictly Japanese pronunciation of the number 7, just like yon is the strictly Japanese pronunciation of the number 4. They're the ones used actually more often than not instead of the Chinese ones, even when we should use Chinese numerals, especially for yon, because of course of the usual, in that case, because she would be its Chinese pronunciation, identical to the pronunciation for the kanji of death. Yeah, they don't like it because of that. But yeah, also, but yeah, that's what was to mention, that for, in our example here, Goju 50, but yeah, still a T, so the tens accent on the Ju, combined with Nana, and so just like Yonex, a numeral accented on the first syllable, those of strictly Japanese origin. And yeah, actually, so the accent is quite simple, becomes we keep the accent of the number, of the second number of the 4 or 7 in the example, 4 in our one. So Rokuju yon would be accented on the yo, Rokuju yon. Actually, in this case, in the case of 64 for the console, the Nintendo 64, I've seen it pronounced also as simply 6 and 4, so Roku yon. Unfortunately, I don't think I couldn't find that. I can't find that accent in the dictionary because it's not a regular one using a number like that. I'd say, based on the pronunciation I've heard and also by logic, most likely the accent would be on the yo, or maybe actually unaccented, as those could actually sound similar when used on the. But yeah, so more likely than not, here actually pronounced as Rokuyon instead of Rokujuyon. But yeah, after that we have modeling from English. We check its accent as usual. Let's see. Yeah, okay, luckily accent on the first syllable, just like in English. Then we have center from English. Should be accent on the first syllable. And funny enough, I think I've straight up heard it. Oops. Soap. Okay, now it's back. I think I've straight up heard it also because of the Pokémon Center. And yeah, Center, so accent on the first syllable. Just like in English. Last but not least, we have in hiragana, because it's a Japanese word actually, Tokyo. And yeah, so it's actually Tokyo. Be careful because of the two U after O, and so actually long O, O-U, so long O, Tokyo, and yeah, it's Tokyo. It's a Chinese compound, and in this case, regular in the sense that it's actually unaccented Tokyo, literally capital, East capital. Yeah, so we can continue. After that, we have super special chief designer. Well, we have first and foremost super, of course. Super, like we've seen in supervisor. But yeah, in this case on its own, because it's then followed by other words. More often than not actually used in Japanese as an abbreviation for supermarket. Yeah, other abbreviation of words beginning with super, also in English. Yeah, accented on the first syllable, super, so super, like in English. Then we have special, special. We check its accent as usual, accented, just like in English, so special. Then we have chief, chief. And yeah, accented luckily, like in English on the first syllable, chief. And yeah, after that we have designer, which we have already seen accented, just like in English. So we can continue. And yeah, I think, sorry, because I was distracted. Okay, perfect. Let's see if we can get something else. I think there are still some. Yeah, this is one that interested me because it's actually not from English in this case. Here it says koe no shutsuen. First we have koe. I think accent on the first syllable, but we'll see. It means voice. Also extended meanings, but yeah, the fundamental one is voice. And yeah, is accent on the first syllable, koe. Then we have the possessive particle no. And after that we have shutsuen, which is a Chinese compound, so hopefully unaccented, but we'll see, which means appearance or performance. In our case, of course, makes more sense as performance. So performance of voice, literally, and so voice performance. And yeah, so actually the voices, again, unaccented shutsuen, as usual. And yeah, we get these voices. I'll quickly check if I can actually find them in the Pokémon Snap page on Bulbapedia. And yeah, of course, by doing that, I'm having issues there, but let's see, staff of Pokemon. Okay, yeah. I could find it in on Bulbapedia. Ishizuka Unsho is Professor Oak, as I expected. Otani Ikue is Pikachu. Is the voice of Pikachu. Yamaguchi Kappei. Notice the E, and so more often than not long E. Some still pronounce it as A. Yeah. Yamaguchi Kappei is Todd Snap, so in Japanese Toru, so our protagonist. After that we get Hoka, which simply is a noun in Japanese, which means, as another place, some other place, usually when used on its own, but often used as a noun with the possessive particle, and so also in practically an adjective, another. And so in our case, simply as in the rest, someone else, et al. By the way, actually, Hoka unaccented. Hoka. But yeah, we have actually seen it before, I think, in a previous series, if not this one. Yeah, let's continue. After that, we get Specialu, Sanksu. So yeah, again, special. We've already seen the accent, luckily, just like in English. And of course, then Sanksu. So thanks. Special thanks. Notice again in Japanese they don't have the sound th, and so it becomes the closest one, which is s. Sanksu. Actually, you can find the accent there on the online dictionary plus plugin combo, so I'll quickly check in the physical one if it's there. Technically could be used as a as a colloquial thanks, even though of course usually we have the ways to say thank you in Japanese. The most important one, arigato, the abbreviation of arigato gozaimasu. Sanksu. Yeah, no, unfortunately, not present even in the physical dictionary. So let's continue. Okay, let's go to the next one. After that we have Rokuyon, again most likely in this case Rokuyon simply instead of Rokujuyon. Mothering Center, Kyoto. So again, 64 Mothering Center. This time, Kyoto. Notice that only the Kyo is has a longer vowel, while To is short in this case. But yeah, this one is Kyoto. Literally, Kyoto means capital city. Capital uses both kanji that mean capital. By the way, it's a Chinese compound, but it's actually accent on the first syllable, so be careful. We have seen that sometimes that's the case, even most are unaccented. So simply that. We can continue. We should be close to the end, I think, at this point. We have here character, kanshu. Well, first and foremost, character, of course, character from English. Accented on the first syllable, just like in English. Notice the kya because to mimic somewhat the e sound of English, even though we have seen it used only for kya and gya. So yeah, character. By the way, often abbreviated as Chiara. I'll quickly check. Unfortunately, you can find the accent of that there. Let's see in the physical dictionary quickly. Let's see. Chiara. I technically have found one, but I don't think it's that word. Yeah, it's actually another word. So unfortunately, we don't know. But yeah, hopefully it's accented. My guess would be accented actually on the first syllable also when abbreviated, but and it's what I think I've also heard. But unfortunately, we can't verify it. After that, we have Kanshu. Of course, a Japanese word, actually a Chinese compound. In this case, there are several Kanshu, and that's again one of the reasons why we actually still use kanji in Japanese, because it helps a lot when it comes to words that otherwise would have the same pronunciation. Even the accent doesn't help in several cases, as we have seen. And yeah, actually liking this one because all these Chinese compounds are unaccented as usual. But yeah, in this case, it's Kanshu, the one which means supervision, editorial, implied supervision, general editorship, or as in an abbreviation of supervising director, technically. So yeah, in our case, character supervision, as in the and yeah, we can continue. Then we have Pokémon Gensakusha. First we have Pokémon, again as usual. And then we have Gensakusha. Actually a compound. We had Sha, which we have even studied in a previous series, which is the Chinese pronunciation of the kanji for person, the one used more often than not as Sha, sometimes also as mono, accent on the last syllable. But yeah, as a suffix for person. In this case, before it, we have Gensaku, which is a Chinese compound, unaccented, luckily, as expected. Literally means original work. And yeah, so original work, person, and so yeah, original author of a work. And yeah, as expected, Gensakusha, by the way, notice that the U of ku is barely heard, if at all, Gensakusha, because of the usual rule, because it's between unvoiced consonants. But yeah, accented on the sa, because of that, and because, of course, usually when we add sha, but I'll still check it again, the accent is before sha, the syllable before sha. Of course, in this case, it goes one syllable further behind, because U is barely heard, if at all, and that's often the case when that happens. But yeah, the rule would be that when we add sha, and I found it, yeah, it's accented immediately before sha. And yeah, like in our case, apart from that, not Q because of that, or it's barely heard if at all, and so on. Gensak Sha. And yeah, the original author of Pokemon, and yeah, of course, is Tajiri Satoshi. Satoshi Tajiri. Okay, continue. Then we have Pokemon Producer. And yeah, Pokemon, and then Producer. Producer from English. We quickly check. The accent, as usual. Producer, yeah, on the due. Notice that to make that due, we use the plus a small u. We might have skipped it as a combination in when we studied katakana, because it's not often used, but yeah, it exists to make that due sound. Yeah, de plus u. And yeah, so producer, accented just like in English, producer. And yeah, of course, it's Ishihara Tsunekazu. Tsunekazu Ishihara. You might have heard of him also, just like Satoshi Tajiri. In the case of Ishihara-san, you might have even seen him in Pokemon Presents. After that, we have simply Producer on its own, Producer, again. And by the way, among them, at the very top, we see Iwata Satoru. Yeah, Satoru Iwata, again. And yeah, after that, we have the executive producer. The executive producer. We'll check the accent of executive, if I can find it, of course. Yeah, couldn't find, sorry. That's just my mistake. Okay, found it. Well, not on its own in the dictionary, but actually in the plugin, so perfect. So we can find the accent. And yeah, luckily it's just like in English, so on the Z. Executive. And yeah, of course, the executive producer is Yamauchi Hiroshi. So, Hiroshi Yamauchi, Nintendo's president at the time. And yeah, let's continue. And actually, I think should be the end of the credits. And yeah, after that, we get Nintendo's logo. Okay. So, technically, we have finished the game, but I think there should be something else that Professor Oak will say when we open the game again, or if even if that isn't the case, we still are missing a Pokemon. So yeah, I'll actually second. Please. Okay. I'll save our state also here just to be completely sure. We'll go back to not like this, like this. Yeah, we'll end the stream here since we practically don't have time. But yeah, we'll play Pokémon Snap at least once more. So next time we'll still play Pokémon Snap to get the final Pokémon. And I think maybe there could be, I'm currently forgetting, but I think there might be additional writings related to that then. And in addition to that, which is the fundamental, if we do that, then we'll definitely end next time. Let's say it should take only one more episode to do that, which is the essential. If we have more time, we'll try to get the Pikachu on Articuno photo again. I can't guarantee I'll get it, as I'm surprised I actually got that and Flying Pikachu, Balloon Pikachu when we did it. But yeah, so next time we should be on Wednesday, unless plans change. We'll still play Pokémon Snap and do all that. And yeah, so see you next time.